Hi, guys. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so glad you hit play. Hopefully, you find some value in today's episode. I think it's something that most people can relate to. It's a modern day problem. And so today I'm going to be addressing how silence makes us uncomfortable. And you might not even be realizing it because we fill our time and our space and the silence with so much good things nowadays. We have so much access to this. And so we might not be realizing how little we have silence now, how little we have time with our own mind and our own body and emotions. I grew up in the 90s. And, right now, I've noticed that from the moment we wake up, there's noise. We have alarms, we have social media, we have podcast music, we're checking our stocks, our investments. We just go, go, go. And sometimes also because of young children or our family, they wake us up and it's immediate interaction, immediate noise. And we don't take some time to separate in silence and in quiet mode. But let's go a little deeper because I'm not just talking about, the aesthetic kind of Instagram quiet mornings thing. I'm just talking about the daily silence that we face and how much try to avoid it. I've just been curious recently, probably in the past year and a half, with silence and just being less connected. My girlfriend did a silent retreat about a year and a half ago. And when she shared her experience, I was extremely curious to see at what point can I sit with myself without and like being optimizing that silence, because I'm really good at optimizing silence by connecting it with something else. And so it piqued my interest to to start to think what's my threshold right now with silence, and can I sit in silence, and what is the purpose, and why would I want to do that? The first go to in my head was I just want to know where my brain goes and what I do after a certain amount of time just with myself, and no true big distractions and no optimizing that silence. Where would I go? So I was just curious about that. And this curiosity has brought me today to this podcast episode because I've been microdosing silence. I've been trying to just not multitask, because I think as females, we are so good, and as mothers, at multitasking everything. And we think we're being super efficient. And listen, this is not a podcast episode about how we should eliminate all the noise. The noise is good. It's about what we are not facing because we fear silence. So one of the ways I started to microdose silence is no music, no podcast in the car, no YouTube while cooking, no background noise at all in small amounts throughout my day, just doing that one thing. And at first, we do this and it feels fine. But when we get into minute 5, minute 10, your brain starts to do something. It starts to open files and you remember things, things like conversations that maybe you've avoided, things you haven't said, things you probably should have said. And this is where it gets tricky for people, because when they hit this threshold, they're like, wait a minute, I don't want to get to this point. And so then we go and do something else. We fill that time with something worthy that we need to get done. And we never allow ourselves to really go deep enough to explore these thoughts and see where they will take us and see how it can connect us to our body, which I feel is really an epidemic. We intellectualize everything, we consume so much, but we don't internalize, we don't let it seep into our being. And I think that is one of the gifts of silence, is the ability to let things seep in and really take root. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why I'm so curious, because yes, I'm big on consuming, but I've also laid back on that quite a bit in the last couple years and decided to create maybe not more than what I consume, but pretty equal in regards to I'm creating something, whether I'm writing, I'm doing something with my hands, I'm developing a talent. I'm not just consuming all this information without giving back that time with creation. And that's been a very rewarding thing for me because I thought I wasn't a creative person, just didn't think that was my talent. So it's been really nice to explore and to let go of just consuming and knowledge and understanding and analyzing, which was my go to for so many years. So going back to silence, silence is not empty, right? It's really honest. It doesn't distract you. It doesn't validate you. It doesn't perform for you. It just shows you, the unedited version of you. And I think that's why it's so uncomfortable because we want the edited version of our lives. We don't want to go into the nitty gritty of a lot of things that we might be avoiding. It's just, I want you to be curious about where you're distracting and numbing and just constantly on to not face things that are inside. And it doesn't have to be negative. It could be powerful, beautiful things that this reveals to you. It's not only the things that maybe you're lacking or the things you're not working on or the relationships that are falling apart or, the things in the past or things that will just come up, those files in our brain. It's also beautiful things. It's realizing how much you have inside of you, how much creativity, how much when you unplug from the world, you have a voice, you have a more artistic, creative um, value than you think you have. And that comes up in silence. And in microdosing this silence, I've realized how sometimes I do get uncomfortable. I don't want to sit with my thoughts. I don't. I want to distract myself from the real deep things or the hard challenges that I'm facing. And so that podcast seems better, that song, that phone call with someone, a family member, and these are all beautiful, maybe great things. But I realize that I do that. And I wonder if you are doing the same thing, and with not optimizing my silence, this is what I mean. In my silent time, it's journaling. It's for me doing like mobility work. I'm all like, I can sit in silence, but I better be optimizing the silence. I mean, I can't just possibly just sit here. I have a million things to do. And so I justify with that. And that's how I've lived my life. My slow moments, my like breathing time is like, I'm doing something, not just nothing. And I've challenged myself to just say, I am worthy to do nothing. Like, can I sit with nothing? And that's been interesting. I think the longest I've done, it has been an hour where I sit with nothing. No music, no podcast, no journal, no mobility work, no yoga, no breathing techniques, nothing. It's just with myself. And I wanted to see how I felt. And I have lots to say about that. And it was really a great experience for me. I have felt more centered. I felt more clarity. I have felt more connected to myself. I have felt more in my element. Definitely lots of ideas come flooding for the things that I'm passionate about. And that's so beautiful. And I feel like it's originating from myself, from my soul. So if silence feels uncomfortable for you, I would question that, not judge it, just notice, because there might be something in there waiting for you to hear it. And this is where it gets deeper because I don't actually think, again, the silence is what we're avoiding. It's the confrontation with ourselves. Silence just happens to be the place where confrontation finally has a voice, because when everything gets quiet, you start to notice what's really going on inside of you. And one of the biggest things silence reveals is this: where in your life are you suppressing versus actually regulating? From the outside, these two can look almost identical. You seem fine, you're functioning, you're moving forward, but internally, they are very different experiences. Suppression sounds like, I can't handle this right now, make this go away, keep it moving. And the example that I gave earlier, I have done that. I can't handle this. I don't want to face this right now. Put the music on, put the podcast on, make the phone call. And maybe you've done that too. So you redirect with distraction, with minimization, you push through perhaps. And listen, most of us are really, really good at this, but the feeling does not go away when we suppress. It gets pushed down and it gets stored. And this is what regulation sounds like. I don't like this, but I can be with it. This is uncomfortable, but I'm safe to feel it. And instead of escaping it, you allow it. You let the sensation exist in your body without needing to fix it immediately. And what happens is the feeling gets processed, it moves through you, it resolves. And so I feel like silence does bring up emotions that we don't know how to process. And that's one of the things and reasons why we avoid large stretches of silence. So suppression avoids the experience and regulation builds the capacity to be with it. This is so important. This word or this idea of stretching our capacity to live in certain emotions, to accept it. And that's really what growth is to me, is to be able to have a larger capacity for life, for everything that we face in life. And it's so easy to distract and to numb and to just stay in the patterns that we are so used to, because the work that it requires to get out of these patterns is so painful and it could be really uncomfortable. But in that, if we stick to it in that level of uncomfortableness, we can get to another place. We can break certain cycles. And if you're feeling stuck or if you're feeling like you're in the same place again and again, it is about a pattern in our nervous system, a pattern that's deep inside. And I feel like silence can gift us this knowledge. Silence is what exposes the difference, right? Between suppression and regulation. Because when there's really no noise to cover it up, you can feel where you're bypassing yourself. You can feel where you're numbing, where you're rushing past something, and where you're choosing distraction over truth. Because sometimes truth hurts and we don't want to face it. So what does it actually look like to regulate instead of suppress? It's simple, but it's definitely not always easy. Here are some examples. It's sitting in silence for a few minutes longer than what it feels comfortable, not immediately reaching for your phone when something comes up, not trying to solve the feeling, just noticing it, paying attention to where it lives in your body, letting yourself breathe through it instead of escaping it, naming it. This is anxiety. This is frustration. This is sadness. It's visiting me, and reminding yourself that you can be with this. Because the truth is, if we stay in suppression, if we stay in the same patterns, the same environments, the same relationships, the same version of ourselves, silence gives you access to the truth you've been avoiding. And yes, that can be uncomfortable, but it is where growth lives. So maybe silence isn't something to fear. Maybe it's something to build a relationship with. And I invite you on this journey with myself because, again, I like to have these conversations in real time with things that I am facing myself, with things that I have experienced. If we build this relationship with it, maybe start microdosing it, because the more you allow yourself to sit in it, the more you move out of the suppression mode and into something deeper. It's capacity, it's honesty, it's awareness, and ultimately the version of you that you've been avoiding. And so that is my invitation to you today. Start thinking about how often you avoid silence. I know there's gifts for you, my friend. So thank you for listening today. If you have any comments you want to share, please DM me on Instagram. I look forward to hearing from you. Till next time, my friends, take care.